My name is David Corcoran. We're here at J-Tech, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about AC Basics today. Everything starts at your compressor, and assuming you have the correct amount of refrigerant in your system, which is designated underneath your hood, your compressor is going to build pressure with the Freon gas, and it's going to get the gases real tight. It's going to cause a lot of pressure. That's why these dots are simulated. It's hot. That side actually gets physically hot if you touch the hoses. It's going to go from the compressor to the condenser, and at the condenser it's going to run down almost like a radiator, and air is going to be blown across it, and it's going to cool it just a little bit. And the green dots here to kind of simulate show that temperature changes. It falls down the condenser, and as it exits a little bit cooler. Your main cooling is going to happen right here at the orifice tube, where the pressure is actually going to drop. And that pressure drop is actually what causes most of your cooling effect in your system. As Freon travels up, it goes up into your evaporator, which is normally in your dash. That's where your blower motor is going to be pulling air across your evaporator, which is almost like another radiator. And what it's actually going to do here is going to go from cold to almost a little bit warmer. And what that does is actually cools the air that blows into the cabin, and that's how your AC actually blows cold. From there, it's going to run to your accumulator, where it's going to drop down, and there's going to be a bag of desiccant to remove any excess moisture from the air. And what you want is as dry as possible before it goes in the compressor, because any moisture can cause a hydrolock in the compressor. Now, when you go to check your AC systems, you're going to put a set of gauges on it, and you're going to look at your different pressures. Your typical normal pressures on your high side is going to be from 200 to 250, and on your low side 20 to 30. Now that's going to change obviously off of your temperature and the humidity in the air. Now you're going to hook up your system. You can use a set of gauges just like this right here. Your blue side is going to be your low side, and your red side is going to be your high side. This is to add Freon in the system, this yellow hose in the center. Now the blue side is the side that gets cold, and the red side is the side that gets hot. That's your high side. That's called your high side because of the high pressure. Now when you're hooking up these gauges, you can't get it wrong because the fittings on it, the low side is a lot smaller than the high side, so it's really impossible to kind of get it wrong. So when you hook up your gauges, you want to see, like I said, anywhere from 200 to 250 and 20 to 30, depending on your ambient air pressure being about 70 degrees and humidity around 60%. Now, say you don't have enough Freon in the system, your pressures are going to be lower. If you have too much Freon in the system, your pressures can be high. Now, say you have too high a pressure on your high side, but no pressure on your low side, that could be a clogged orifice tube. And how that works is if it's clogged, it won't let any gas get through, so you're going to lose pressure on this side, and pressure is going to continue to build on this side from the compressor continuing to pump. That's why there's usually a high pressure switch somewhere on the high side here to shut the compressor off if there is such a failure. Another common problem that you can have is your AC compressor may not come on. There's an electrical circuit, fuses, relays, things that you need to check. Make sure to tell if your compressor is working, you should see it kicking on and off as you're running the AC. You see this clutch right here, engage and disengage. Now, to check for leaks in a system, because if you lose Freon, obviously your system won't work. So you want to always check to see if you have any leaks in the system. The best way that I've found to check for leaks is to pull a vacuum on the system. If the system can hold a vacuum, typically it can hold pressure. So that's a good check to see about that. And now other ways you can do leak testing is there's a dye that you can put and introduce into this system. And that dye will leak out wherever the Freon will leak out. And you can use a black light and a set of yellow safety glasses to quickly identify the leaks wherever they are in the system. You'll see a nice bright green coming out from wherever it's coming out at. And it's typical to see some leakage come out the compressor, but you shouldn't lose more than a quarter pound in a year. Now, looking at some real world examples of what the actual system looks like, this is a nice setup right here where you can see all the components. This right here is going to be your compressor, which would be attached to your engine, is driven by the belt. You can't see the clutch because it's covered by this metal plate right here, but this is where you would look to watch to see it engage. This right here is going to be your accumulator. where it will get all the excess air out of the system. Now coming around to this side, if you look, this would be your high side and this would be your low side. Now if you watch your high side, it comes in here, takes some excess moisture out, follows up. I'm sorry, this one right here. You see this crimp right here, and you see that in the line, that's where your orifice tube is going to be. That's where the pressure changes, and that's where you get most of your cooling effect. Inside here is where your evaporator is. It'd be normally in your dash, and that's where